Hi class, today I am going to go over the portfolio assignment. I'm going to go ahead and explain the instructions in more detail. I also wanted to say that we do not have a final exam for this class, so the portfolio assignment is our final assignment and it is worth 150 points. So even though it is not an exam, it is still worth a lot of points and it is something that you should complete if you want to pass the course. So the portfolio assignment consists of 3 components, and the components are listed right here. The first is a previously graded essay. The second one is a self-evaluation letter, and the third one is a final draft of a persuasive essay. So basically, we're going to write a new argumentative essay based on a topic from the film Food Inc. So let me go ahead and provide a little bit more information on each component. I do want to say that the portfolio is going to be submitted as one assignment, so you can go ahead and write or include all these components in one long file, or if you'd like, you can go ahead and submit 3 separate files. So it's very important that if you're going to submit 3 separate files, you add them at the same time, one after the other, so that they can all be submitted together. If you submit a file and then you go back and submit another file later, the one you previously submitted gets deleted. So please make sure that you follow that process, because I've had students before who don't do that. Like, let's say they finish the revision and the letter, and then like the day after they go back and submit the final draft of their argumentative essay, the previous 2 files they submitted get deleted. So then I end up grading only one, and when they see their grade, that's like a 50 out of 150, they go and email me and say, what happened? I submitted all of them. So to avoid all that, please make sure that you submit all the files at the same time. Or if you want to play it safe, just do everything on one Word file and submit it as one file. So the first thing is a revised essay. Now, when I say revised essay, I mean that you improve the essay substantially. We're not talking about just adding a comma here or there. We're talking about adding content. We're talking about improving thesis statements, improving the organization, substantial changes that are going to improve the essay and also show your growth as a writer. So, for example, let's say at the beginning of the semester you didn't really know what a thesis statement was and you struggled with that. So in this revision, you can go ahead and revise the thesis statement for that particular essay to show that now you have a better understanding of thesis statements. So whenever it comes to what essay to revise, I always suggest that you revise the one where you can make the most changes, because that makes it easier for you. And like I said, it also shows how you've grown as a writer. So your options are the diagnostic, essay 1, essay 2, which is the argumentative essay, or the common reader response. The common reader response is more of a summary response, but you can still go ahead and choose to revise that one. So these are your options. You only have to select one of these, okay? So don't choose all of them. Don't revise all of them. Just think about which one you feel you can improve the most. So select between the diagnostic, the literacy narrative, the argumentative essay, or the common reader response. And it is very important that whenever you write this revision, you don't have to change everything, like I said. You just have to change the things that you feel would improve the essay substantially. And it's important that you highlight all the changes that you make. So if you add an entire paragraph, if you add a whole page, go ahead and highlight the entire page. That way I can visually see what you are adding. So by highlighting it, it's visually clear that you made a lot of revisions. If you only make a revision here and there, then obviously that will affect your grade for this essay. Another thing to keep in mind is that I do have the other essays submitted, or I have the other essays on Canvas that you submitted, so I'm going to go back and compare the essays to see if you actually change those things. So you want to make sure that you highlight them. That way I can go ahead and compare the essay you previously submitted with the revised one. And again, with revision, it's always best to go back and read and, think about what you've learned and look at it from like a different perspective. Look at it as a reader, right? As a reader, what would you change? It's also advised that you go to the tutoring center, and it's also advised that you maybe have somebody else that you trust read the essay. That way they can go ahead and provide feedback. The second component is the self-evaluation letter. For this letter, basically what you are doing is you are reflecting on the semester. So this is what we call a critical reflection essay. And you're going to reflect on the course, what you've learned, the content we covered, your writing process, your reading process, and you're going to look at your strengths and weaknesses, and you're going to talk about how you've evolved, what you've learned, if you think you're ready to move on to English 1110, all of those things. Now, keep in mind that this letter is about you and your experience in the class. So you don't necessarily have to, worry about, is this right or is this wrong? Because it's more about your experience. However, what you do want to focus on is you want to make sure that you provide examples and that you provide different examples that reflect your progress, that reflect your growth in different areas. So one of the things you want to do is you want to go ahead and talk about 4 different types of knowledge: self-knowledge, content knowledge, rhetorical knowledge, and critical knowledge. This basically what it means is self-knowledge is you want to talk about yourself as a writer, as a reader, as a student. So be honest with yourself. Maybe you struggled with some parts of writing this semester because you were not investing enough time, or maybe you were trying to write essays last minute, so maybe you learned about time management throughout the semester and that helped you. So self-knowledge is about you and what you've learned as a writer, as a reader, your experience with the writing process. Content knowledge refers to the content in the course. So basically for content knowledge, what you want to provide examples of are assignments or readings that helped you grow. So for example, let's say the summary responses we did, they really helped you understand the articles and the literacy narratives. That's something that you can go ahead and include there. Or maybe the discussions really helped you connect with other people and see their interpretation of the readings we had. Or maybe the readings, you were able to relate to them and that helped you understand the genre of the essay that we were working on. So again, for content knowledge, you basically want to provide examples about the class, the readings, the assignments, things like that. Now keep in mind that I created this class, so I know what I assigned, I know what kind of readings we have. So don't make up anything. One time I had a student who made up books and who made up assignments that we never actually did. So make sure you refer to your syllabus and refer to the Canvas course just to make sure that you are putting proper information. Rhetorical knowledge refers to the choices you make as a writer. Think about it in terms of audience, purpose, genre. Those are the things you have to think about as a writer. You have to decide, okay, what kind of detail am I going to include? How much detail am I going to include? You also want to go ahead and think about your topic. Does it work for the length of the assignment? Whenever you are writing your argumentative essay, you have to think about, okay, is this quote going to support my main argument? How do I want to word my thesis? So all of those are choices that you make. Definitely think about the choices you made whenever you were writing your essays and try to reflect on that and include examples in your self-evaluation letter. The 4th type of knowledge is critical knowledge, and this basically refers to your strengths and weaknesses. And here is where you can discuss your strengths in terms of writing, as a reader, as a student. We all have strengths, so think about what you do really well. Maybe you're really good at brainstorming, maybe you're really good at planning, maybe you're really good at coming up with thesis statements, so think about that. Also think about your weaknesses as a writer. For example, when I was in college, my professors, they would always tell me, to work on my transitions. So I knew that that was an area that I needed to work on because it was my weakness. So maybe think about areas that you need to improve, or think about weaknesses that you might have. Perhaps you're not the best with time management, or perhaps you are not really good with thesis statements, or maybe you are struggling with paragraph structure. Whatever you are struggling with, definitely go ahead and reflect on that, and maybe think about how the class helped you, or how you still need to work on that. It is important to keep in mind that writing is a process, so there's no such thing as a perfect writer. There's no such thing as getting it right the first time. Writers and the process of writing is all about revision. You can revise something 80 times and you'll still find something to change. So don't think that for your self-evaluation letter, you have to show that you are perfect and you've made it and you're an amazing writer. No, the purpose is to show how you've improved and also what areas you need to work on. And keep in mind that there's another class that follows this one. This class is meant to prepare you for English 1110. So don't think you have to have everything solved or everything figured out by the end of this class. No, this class is meant to prepare you for another class. So that's something that you can also go ahead and include in your letter. What do you plan on working on for the next class? Maybe for your next class, you know you're going to start doing research. So that's something that you really know that you need to work on. Maybe you want to work on your organization. You know that's something you struggle with. So whenever you start English 1110 next semester, you're going to go ahead and focus on that because you've realized that it's something you struggle with. So definitely go ahead and keep all these types of self-knowledge in mind. I do have a chapter from a book that discusses them more in detail, so you can go ahead and read this handout right here. We do have a quiz over this handout, so please make sure that you do read it carefully. In this handout, like I said, it is a chapter and there are some questions there that'll help you think about each type of knowledge. But I also went ahead and I listed some questions here. You don't have to answer all of these questions in your letter, but these are questions to help you think about and help you reflect. So you definitely want to address some of these questions in your letter. And you definitely want to conclude your letter by looking into the future and thinking about, okay, what's next? How am I going to use what I've learned here in the next class? How am I going to use what I've learned here in my career? So definitely start looking forward and look into the future. I also have a handout where I tell you how to format the self-evaluation letter. So please make sure that you refer to this. That way you know how to format the letter. And you also want to go ahead and include in your letter why you made the changes you made. So the revision of the essay should be discussed in your letter. And as you can see, this applies to content knowledge. It also can apply to rhetorical knowledge, critical knowledge, and self-knowledge. So by discussing the changes you've made in your essay, that serves as an example for all four of them possibly, depending on what changes you made. The last and final component is the persuasive essay. So for this essay, you're going to watch the film Food Inc., which I do have a link where you can go ahead and watch the movie for free. And what you're going to do is you're going to watch the film, and the film deals with a lot of different topics ranging from obesity to junk food to immigration to animal rights to the monopoly of the food industry. It deals with a lot of topics. So what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to choose one topic and develop an argument about that topic. So like, for example, let's say you want to write about animal rights and how they need to be kept in better conditions. So this will be your topic, and you're going to go ahead and develop your reasons to support your argument. You're going to go ahead and conduct research to find evidence and sources, and you're going to incorporate those sources in your essay. And this is going to require that you do APA citations to cite your sources. So for this one, we are going to work on this essay as a process. So the first step is choosing a topic. So you are going to submit a topic proposal first, where you tell me what your topic is, what your angle or prompt is going to be, and then you're going to write a thesis statement. Once I approve your topic, you are ready to move on to the research part and writing your argument. You're going to develop your essay, possibly write multiple drafts, incorporate the sources, and then after you've revised it or polished it a few times, you should have your final draft of the essay, and that's what you're going to submit. You want to make sure that you submit a topic proposal when that assignment is due. That way I can tell you if your topic works or if it doesn't work, because you don't want to miss that assignment and then you write an essay and then you find out that that topic is not suitable for this type of essay. So we do have a little bit over a month to work on this essay. And like I said, for the persuasive essay, we're going to learn how to do a PA style, and we're going to learn to do research. You're going to write this essay, double space, word process, 12-point font, and you're going to use APA. You're going to want to have at least 2 sources for the essay. So the film and the 2 sources are going to total 3 sources for your essay that have to be incorporated within the text and also in a reference page at the end. So because for this essay, we're watching a movie, we're choosing a topic, we're learning about research, we're learning about citation. As you can see, that's why we have a little bit over a month to complete this, because it is going to be a process that's going to take us to the end of the semester. And you want to make sure that you complete every single component for the portfolio. The reason why each one is worth 50 points is because I used to have them worth, like for example, the revision was worth 25, but then I would have students who wouldn't submit the revision. So they are all worth 50 points, which means that if you don't complete all of them, your grade is going to suffer. So you definitely want to make sure that you take advantage of the time. Like I said, we have a little bit over a month, so take your time. Make sure that you keep up with the assignments we're doing, because all of those assignments are related to the portfolio. So you want to make sure that you keep up with the assignment. You want to make sure that you also work on the portfolio on your own, because it is 3 components. So you don't want to be doing this last minute, the night before it's due, because it's just going to be very, very stressful. So I hope this was helpful. Also, make sure that you look at the portfolio module, because that is going to have resources as well. So that one is towards the end of the modules, and it contains a lot of important information that you want to go ahead and make sure that you look at. For example, there's a link where you can watch the film, and it has a PowerPoint on reflective writing. It also has a link to critical reflection, and it has some sources for the food ink film. So definitely make sure that you look at the portfolio module as you're working on your portfolio, just to make sure that you are utilizing all the resources available. And of course, we are going to be looking at the APA modules as well, because they're going to help you cite your information. So please let me know if you have any questions about the portfolio or about citation, and